Evening, everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order at 4:01. Adoption of the agenda.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopts the Committee of the Whole agenda for February 12th, 2026 as presented.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Statham. All in favour? That's carried. Disclosure of any pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Adoption of the minutes.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopt the minutes of January 8th, 2026 as presented.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier. Seconded. Councillor Denning. All in favour? That's carried. Businesses arising from minutes. Seeing none. We go to 6, which is staff reports, infrastructure and development, winter maintenance. David, it's over to you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I brought this to the committee of the whole to have a wholesome discussion about our winter maintenance that we do throughout the municipality of West Elgin. In the report I prepared, I laid out the Ontario Regulation 239/02, which is the minimum maintenance for roads, and in that minimum maintenance standard is the snow and snow removal for sidewalks and roads. So everyone is well aware of what the minimum is and what we do. What we do is above the minimum, but it still meets our standards. And if we have to create if there's an event in the municipality of West Elgin where we have to declare a significant weather event and what that entails as well. So in the report, it shows what triggers the amount of snowfall according to the minimum maintenance. And most of our roads in the municipality of West Elgin are a class 3 road, which would require a minimum of 8 centimeters to be cleared in 12 hours. Our staff is well above that, but it's that's a standard that's set out within the province of Ontario. For this standard is derived from prioritization of roads, including the main access for emergency services, higher traffic areas, higher risk roads, maintenance connectivity between communities, and ensuring that all the roads are done in a timely manner. This leading from well. Our high priority roads throughout municipality of West Elgin are the Elgin County roads, which we are responsible for maintaining as well through our contract with Elgin County. Those are our high traffic roads, and those are the first ones that get done. And those are mostly those are the class 3 roads that we have in the municipality of West Elgin. I've attached a map of the West Elgin and Elgin County roads in our system. So if anybody needs to take a look to see the difference between them, they're there. It's an attachment B. One of the bigger issues that we've been having is understanding winter sidewalk maintenance. Understanding the difference between high volume and low volume roads. In the community of Rodney, the business core is considered our high volume area. In the report, it's identified in the orange lines where we consider the high volume areas that we remove snow on a regular basis. The blue areas are considered the lower volume roads that we do on once there's a significant amount of snowfall over 8 centimeters to be removed. And that's an attachment C in the report. For the community of West Lauren, We also have a high volume and low volume areas that we maintain, which are identified under the same color system in the orange and the blue. We maintain the orange sections at a higher level due to the fact that it's in the business core and it's identified in our West Elgin policy for level of services in the sidewalk maintenance that was set out in 2014 and revised in 2016. Or sorry, 2006 and 2010. There's a possible need to review that as things have changed over the years, as the community is involved throughout the time. And we are looking at that and looking for your guidance to see if there's anything that we need to be able to adjust to. Yeah, so that attachment is in attachment D for this West Lawrence sidewalks. I think this is a great opportunity for council to ask questions, to see what we can, see if there's anything I can help them with to understand our winter maintenance program.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I'd just like to say and to remind everybody really that every winter is not the same. And distances between snow events vary all the time. If one comes right on the other, you obviously can't cope quite as quick. You know, I mean, there's nothing that keeps repeating itself. It's so variable. I don't know how you manage to keep up, but I will say that this year has been, in my opinion, you've done an excellent job. And everybody I meet says, wow, the way the snow's been moved back, and just in case another event comes, there's still room. Everything is really good this year. That's my opinion. Anyway, I was just wanting to remind everybody that it isn't just set out on paper. It has to be done with the weather events, and that's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, we've been looking at the weather events as we address the moving of the snow back as we see the forecasting coming. It's been a challenge this year, and everybody has noticed that we did our initial plow and then we did a pushback when we had at that time as well. So in that act, sometimes there's a lot of issues where we peel back some grass because the grass was not frozen this year as well, because the snow blanketed and kept it warm. And that's the reason why a lot of that grass has been peeled back, where in previous years the grass has been frozen and it wasn't able to run over top of it. But once we did peel it back, it did get a chance to freeze in that time period too, because we've had along with the snow, we've had a very cold winter as well. So
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Sousa.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Dave, thank you for the report. And thank you, staff, for maintaining our streets and sidewalks this winter season. I understand the amount of snow we received this winter was quite significant. Dave, I have several questions today, and it's mostly for our constituents at home and those who are watching. Safety of our communities being my biggest concern. Is there a policy or bylaw for residential or homeowners to clear sidewalks adjacent or in front of their property? If someone were to trip and fall, who is liable?
thank you. Through you, Mayor. In our policy that is attached in the report, it clearly identifies what roads we do and what we do care for. Since other ones aren't mentioned, it's assumed that the remainder of the snow events that need to be taken care of, or will not be taken care of by municipality of West Elgin. A lot of these issues a lot of these roads that are lower volume roads don't require sidewalks as much, since when the plows go by, pedestrians can go out onto the street, because if they're on the street, there's less cars at those points as well. The cars per day count on those streets is very low, and it can be addressed. You can make your way around the community on the roads that are a little bit safer too. So.
Yeah. I question if we need a bylaw in place. That the responsibility and the sidewalk in front of homeowners' property should fall on the homeowner to clear that sidewalk. I know growing up in the city, that was the case in other cities and municipalities where the homeowner had to clear the sidewalk in front of their home. I'm just questioning if we have any bylaws in place. My next question is approximately how many staff members do we have that work on our roads and sidewalks after a significant snow event?
Through your mayor, for our staff, we have 8 staff that operate plows. And we have to stagger them so that if we have an event that lasts a significant amount of time, that there's fresh guys that are able to go out and act out on the roads. We have 2 individuals that take care of our sidewalks, so they're separate from those staff. But we're continuing to evolve and see how we handle all these issues. But we try to get them out there as soon as possible, but at the same time, it's when snow comes at all hours of the night, and we want to be able to make sure that we get them out there at the correct times. And it's a big issue because I was talking to one of my staff today about plowing snow before it's done finishing. A lot of the times they've noticed they're out there plowing and they'll plow a section of the road and they'll look behind them and they can't even see the tracks. So it's really hard to be able to see exactly how impactful we're going to be when it's still snowing. And we try to get out there, and that's all mentioned in the minimum maintenance standard when we need to be able to go out. It generally starts after the snow stops. Sometimes the snow doesn't stop and we have to go out and do our work, but at the same time, we're trying to keep the safety of the community in mind first.
Thank you. I got a few more questions here. Do we have the right equipment to maintain different sizes of sidewalks? Do we need, as a group, do we need to look at considering purchasing new equipment or hiring additional employees? I think we have 8 staff. That sounds like quite significant for me. Do we have the right equipment to maintain different sizes of sidewalks? Do we need to look at purchasing equipment? I'm just asking your opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, currently there's issues in the municipality where we have some sidewalks aren't very wide and they're not to the standard of a new sidewalk that gets installed. Those sidewalks, when we do them with the equipment that we have, we just end up tearing the grass up as we go by. So we don't like doing those sidewalks. Not that we don't like them. We don't maintain those sidewalks to the standard of other sidewalks because of that issue right there. So the sidewalks that we do have on the map are the ones we do though. So.
Thank you. And then do you feel we should be reviewing our sidewalk policy to better serve our community safety? Do you think we should keep bringing it up to date? I know you mentioned the year, I think it said 2013 was the last time it was done. I mean, I feel that's quite a while ago. Maybe we should be reviewing our policies and bylaws and updating it. How do you feel about that?
Yes, taking a look at the policy and reviewing them is always a great idea because the community changes over time. But at the same time, it's like we're looking for direction of the of council to be able to address their needs appropriately. So,
Dave, again, I thank you for this report. Keeping up with our winter this season, I know it's not easy. It's a lot of work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And our CAO wants to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to maybe add to the information that Dave has provided. While we have 8 staff, they're not designated snowplow drivers. That is in addition to the other work that they are doing. And similar to the 2 persons who manage our sidewalks, are responsible for the plowing of our sidewalks. Those are roles and duties that are added on in the winter time. So these aren't dedicated full-time individuals. And I think that's just an important designation for people to understand that this is on top of work that those individuals already assigned to do for the regular year.
Okay, just to respond to that to council, like I would like to suggest that this council consider having staff review and potentially update our winter maintenance policy in regards to sidewalks. We look at ensuring community safety, school access, bus access, pedestrian access to essential amenities. Also reviewing if additional equipment and employees are needed. And finally, to come back to council with cost estimates. I think this is an important matter. I really, really care, and my heart hurts when I'm hearing all these complaints in our community, and I think we need to create more clear bylaws, the rules and regulation, who's responsible for what.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's why I mentioned that every winter isn't the same. You know, you can't have a big bunch of people standing there because they've got nothing to do because the snow hasn't come. And the next year you get rid of some and then comes the snow and then we're caught out.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to gauge. Okay, anyone else? Councillor Statham, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, Dave. Thank you very much for this report. I think it's really important that you know, these kind of nuances are available to the public so that they can see that there are policies in place and we have you know, procedures and you know, direction on which roads get plowed first and how the sidewalks are you know, plowed. I think in my view, we're looking at this in a microcosm, and what I mean when I say that is that every year, to your point, Mr. Mayor, is very different, and we've been spoiled over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been light winters for the last 4 or 5 years. I remember planting, sowing seeds and disking fields in February in 2020. So, you know, I think looking at this on an individual basis, saying that this year we had a lot of snow and we need to adjust all our policies, I think that's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Dave, my first question would be, when we're basing our policies, we use an average, correct, over a certain period of time based on snowfall? Like it's a 5-year average. Is that what we use?
Well, for our policies, we base it on what we have for snowfall at that moment. So like when we go and plow the roads, we're basing it on the weather, the current conditions.
Right.
So to be able to like outline a policy, it's based on what we're experiencing, and if we can't handle what we're experiencing, then we can declare a significant weather event. Like a lot, actually this year, there's been in their neighboring communities of Central Elgin and BAM, they've declared a significant weather event due to the snowfall that we experienced as well. We didn't hit those markers where we couldn't keep up, so we didn't declare that. I work closely with our boots on the ground to be able to figure out this is our current situation. We're handling or not handling it. Do we need to be able to declare or not? So it's a read and react situation when it comes to that. So
Thank you. I guess what I was getting at is I think that we do a really good job of keeping our roads and our sidewalks clear. I think, you know, as much as we can, we adapt. And in this particular year, I think it's been a very heavy year when it comes to snowfall. Not necessarily in line with the last, you know, 4 or 5 years. And I think that maybe takes people off guard, and you know, it's a little bit shocking. But I remember as a kid, you know, the drifts in our ditches were big enough that we could build gigantic snow forts, and that hasn't been the case in the last 5 or 10 years. And you know, maybe we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence in the amount of precipitation that we're getting over the winter. To Councillor Seuss's point, you know, as long as we're adapting to those changes and then we're able to keep the roads clear. These policies, I went through this document at length, and I think that they're in line. And you said yourself, we exceed the standard in West Elgin. So there are maybe some particular locations, which was the next question that I had, but there are some particular locations that we need to address. But in my view, I think that we're doing a phenomenal job, and I'm appreciative of those 8 staff members that are doing this day in and day out. And it's a lot of work, and they're doing their best. And there is a pretty clear list of all the roads that they need to do in which order. So to that point, when we're looking at the sidewalks that need to be cleared, I agree that maybe those need to be updated. The last time they were updated, you said was 2013?
I believe so.
Okay, so
It's been a while.
so maybe we can look at, maybe that's something I would suggest, maybe we look at updating them. The question specifically is, how do we determine what is a low volume and high volume with respect to pedestrian traffic? Is that through studies, or how do we determine that? And is there any consideration given to the type of pedestrian traffic, AKA, coming from a health facility or a seniors facility where we have a lot of seniors? Is that worked into the matrix when we're deciding what is low volume, high volume, and the importance of plowing those? Thanks.
Thank you. For the low volume and high volume, it was set by through the policy manual. That was just the tip for ease of communication. There wasn't any counts done on the people, but as it's a business corridor, it is a higher volume than it is the other ones. So for just ease of communication, I identified it as low volume and high volume. And that's what's set by the policy, and that's what we did.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Maybe that's something that we could look at going forward, is establishing which sidewalks are most urgent during a snowfall event. I have one more question, if I
Yes.
may. With respect to snow drifts, I know that was something that's come up. I've had a number of residents reach out. Typically, that's the plow just went past, and now there's a snow drift on the road. What I've explained to people is, we're doing our very best. The guys are out there, they're working. We can't, if there's high winds. I live on a road where we get drifts on a regular basis, and it is frustrating. It's difficult. How does the municipality react to those? I mean, if you get a call saying that there's a large drift, is that something that we redirect staff to clear the drift? Or, and again, just for clarity's sake, for residents, those drifts can build up in minutes. So a plow can go by, and 10 minutes later, there's 10 inches of snow on the road. So I just wondered if you could comment on that a little bit, so that residents understand what we're doing to keep the road safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to give you an example of a situation that happened on our last weekend, we had a severe drifting event going on over that, and I had my crew that started, my afternoon crew that goes from 3 to 11 and out, and they were busting drifts all night as they went through the night, and they were about to call it a night as they were reviewing their last patrol route, and they noticed severe drifting. They ended up staying out till 5 a.m. in the morning out there, going from drift to drift, basically getting all of those issues, because that was the only thing that was happening. There wasn't a lot of snow. It was just blowing snow. So we had our staff out there, and for if this happens, we have a crew going out patrolling the roads at every so many hours. So in the mornings we have a crew going out at 4 a.m. looking at the roads to see how they are on the weekdays, and we have a crew at 5 a.m. doing a tour to see how the roads are, and then that same crew goes out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and checks on the road. So and if there is an issue, we bring the plows out to take care of our concerns. But that's how we address that. It's and those timing windows are all part of the minimum maintenance standard of being able to get out there and check the roads before they're done. So.
My apologies. Just one more further follow up. Thank you, Dave. If there's a resident in the municipality that has a particular concern, if there's a drift on their road, or if they feel as though something is not up to the standard, what would the procedure be for that resident to report that to the municipality and get action on that? How would they deal with that? What's the correct procedure for them to deal with that so that it's looked after as quick as possible?
Yeah, for drifts that are occurring, it's really hard for us to be able to. We have our patrollers going out at those certain times. If there's an issue that is reoccurring, or occurs and it's not addressed in a timely manner, I would suggest calling into the municipal office, identifying the area, and then letting us know so we can go rectify the issue, and review it on a regular basis to make sure that, hey, do we get this area? Our guys are out there all winter long. They know where the drifts are going to be. We react to that timing. But if there's something that's coming up that we don't know about, please let us know so we can address that issue as well. But there's only so much reach we can do at a certain amount of time. But if there's a recurring issue, we'll definitely look at those causes case by case.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Deputy Mayor Tellier, please.
Thank you, through the chair. Dave, thank you so much for bringing this forward. About 3 weeks ago, I came into your office to, make a gentle inquiry about sand and salt, and you picked up the bylaws and you're already working on this. You're like ahead of the game always, and always seeing what we need. So I thank you for that. And you already got the sand and salt going, and we got it that Tuesday or something. So you were way ahead of everything. So thank you for that. To the point of people, residents going and asking, inquiring and letting the municipality know what drifts are and that. I think they need to also realize they need to have patience. As you mentioned, Dave, these guys are out there, they know where the drifts are. There's a major event. They need to give us time to get there, time to get the sidewalks done. We can't be everywhere. We have only 8 guys, as our CAO pointed out, and they are, the staff is being pulled from other spots to do this most of the time. And you have 2 shifts working?
Yes, we have a day shift, and then we have and in the winter hours we have a night shift, or not a night shift, but an afternoon shift,
Yeah.
so that we can get things taken care of that need to happen after hours as well.
So I think when a resident approaches us, we need to give them the realistic answer of be patient. We can't be everywhere. We can't do everything. If there's a significant snowfall, even the blowing snow that was last on the 6th, just be patient. We'll get there. And people need to be a little more realistic, maybe. I have had no complaints all winter about anything, but I did have some inquiries, and I believe one business in Rodney did contact the office, and they were very pleasant when they contacted, supposedly, and also pleasant with myself. But the concern is in the 2 downtown cores, and I noticed it today when I was on Main Street here in West Lorne. So there's the sidewalk, and then there's the unilock bricks, and then there's the curb. So the unilock bricks aren't being cleared off with the sidewalk machine. And then they're on, especially in West Lawrence downtown, they're on a curve, like a slope. And then so I saw several seniors just very gingerly going up and down those slopes today. I don't know if that's something that we could put in the bylaws to look at after the event's over, kind of like a secondary thing. To look at cleaning that on the slopes, because they look very dangerous and they're just full of ice. So once again, very kindly, people in the, businesses in the 2 cores have asked if we can look at that, and I noticed it today as well. But thank you for all your hard work and the staff's hard work and everyone keeping up, and looking at this again is great to bring this forward and have us relook and maybe what our needs are at this time versus what they were back when it was first written. Thank you.
Any reply from that one?
Just to comment on the sidewalks, the edges of the slopes. We have our sidewalk crew that goes out and does the sidewalks. Review that every time they go do the sidewalks. As mentioned, our afternoon crew, we try to get them to come take care of that when it gets to a certain point. But they're also the same people that will be removing snow from the roads. So that is generally the delay for those to get cleaned up, and there's a certain time period where it's like if we do it when it's only a foot high, then it's really not a very effective time to do it. But we're trying to find the appropriate time to be able to address this. One of the things that I really we would possibly help with, if there's a common area where people go in and out from the road to the sidewalk is that our equipment doesn't really handle that very well sometimes. We try to create a passageway for people to go back and forth. And that would be the ideal time or ideal spot to access those until the snow is removed from those locations.
Thank you. Mr. Denny, please.
You might as well all have a turn. Through the mayor. Dave, thank you very much. You started off your presentation by asking council for direction. And I do think that we would be serving the community and future council and staff best by setting into the policy a mandatory review of these priority and secondary roads, like let's say every 5 years, because since 2013, we've certainly had some new housing developments in West Lorne and now a new one in Rodney. So, that does impact what would be priority or secondary. So certainly having a review, maybe not necessarily every year, but every 5 years or so might not be a bad idea just to have that as automatic. I certainly can't blame the community for being frustrated during a snow event that the sidewalk in front of my house is being plowed, but 1 block over their sidewalk isn't. They don't know what they don't know. So certainly I think that education is a component of this, and maybe again every fall as we near winter time, it would be good. The maps that you put on your presentation are perfect to share with the community as a reminder. These are the priority roads. These are the secondary roads. This is why. And then as we start to talk about the idea of possibly expanding those roads, the sidewalk services, I think it's important for us as council and for the community to recognize that for every additional foot of sidewalk that we decide to make into a priority or secondary serviceable sidewalk plow road, there is a cost associated with that, which represents either an increase in taxes or taking reducing a service elsewhere to accommodate that addition. So as we get into budget time here, I think that's also an important consideration and also important component of the education to the community that, we as council are constantly trying to balance the expansion of services to our community with the reality of the cost to pay for it. So thank you for everything that you do, and to your team, keep up the good work.
Thank you for that. And reply for that?
Yeah, what I didn't mention is what all of you mentioned is how well my team's doing this year. I'm very proud of them. They're doing an excellent job. We're dealing with major challenges and moving forward, having everyone deal with all the overtime that we're pulling out there. I can't tell you how many times I've approved timesheets where people are working late in the night, early in the morning, and then extra long days. So there's a cost related to that, but it's also the community that's benefiting from this too. So
Yeah, we'd like to extend the message and say, like, I talk for council and to thank them very much for the job they've done. Well done.
Thank you.
Through the
Deputy
chair,
Mayor Taylor, please.
the season's not over yet.
No,
Sorry,
no, it's
guys.
not. That's why I want to keep their morale up. Yes, Councillor Susan.
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, so if we have staff working overtime and doing all these extra hours, maybe we should look at expanding our staff, hiring more staff for clearing the sidewalk. Like, businesses are hurting, they're waiting, and it's these sidewalks not getting cleared. We're saying be patient. Well, how long are they waiting for? 3 days, 4 days? And then business hurts. And then we have staff that's working overtime and all these extra hours. Well, doesn't it make sense to say, hey, you work those hours, let's hire another staff member. They can be more concerned with the sidewalk and they'll get that addressed in a timely manner. Does that not make more sense? Or am I completely wrong? Thank you.
Have you got an answer for that? Because I just worry on the lean year when we don't get much snow, that we've got too many people standing about.
We are considering all options as we move forward through this process, and it's really been an eye-opening first year for me, and hopefully that we're going to look at our different results from this year and take into account that, yes, this is a really bad year. What do we truly need and the expectations through council and the community. So.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry. So I should say thank you. It's just, I'm also concerned for staff. I mean, I knew you guys are doing a phenomenal job. You're doing a great job, and just worried about staff's health and well-being. If they're working so many hours, like, do they want to work all these hours? They want to be at home with their family, and let's accommodate, not force staff to work extra hours because you only have 2 staff members to do the sidewalk and they have to work all these hours. I'm just concerned, and I think maybe we have to be prepared for the worst. Thank you.
Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And through you, I don't disagree. I think, you know, maybe the answer is hiring a couple other staff members. The only thing, what we have to realize is that climate is a very variable element. So it changes from week to week, from month to month. And just because we had a snow event and then a snow event that followed it and a snow event that followed it, we could say, yes, we need more staff. So we hire more staff, and then we have 8 weeks without any snow, and now we've hired another staff member and they have nothing to do, and we're paying someone to, you know. So I think we just need to maybe look at longer term averages before we make a knee jerk reaction. It was the same when we had the flooding here. You know, everybody was, you know, up in arms because we had flooding everywhere, but that was a 1 in 100 year event. We got through it. A couple seasons since, no issues. I'm not saying that it didn't open everybody's eyes and we realized that we have to make some changes, but you know, at the same time, just because we had a whole bunch of snow in the space of a couple weeks, I don't think that we necessarily need to look at bringing a bunch more people on to cover that gap. I mean, would it not be acceptable that it's just a sort of you know, like a once in a 50-year thing, right? Or once in a 10-year thing, or I don't know. I think we should be careful on bringing staff on because of a short-term event. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions?
To you, Mr. Mayor, just again, just a review. We come back with the review. I want what staff thinks is best and what Dave thinks is best. Like, what do you feel? Do you feel like your staff members are sitting around, got nothing to do, or are they always busy and can't keep up? Do we need more staff? Thank you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, if you want to carry on from that, to CAO wants to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, the recommendation to the committee of the whole is this is for information purposes. If council would like us to do a more fulsome review of our current policies, then that might be a direction that council would like to formally provide us, which would be, and as committee of whole, then what you're doing is sort of directing that staff would go and review the information, either to return to the committee of the whole or to return to council for approval. But right now, the recommendation is for information purposes.
Yes, thank you for that. Anything further? Okay, so can we go to recommendation for that one, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Committee of the Whole hereby receives the report from Dave Sharon, Manager of Infrastructure and Development, for information purposes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded by Councillor Sousa. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. We go to 6.2. Verbal discussion, community issues. Over to you, CAO. Is it?
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Mr. Mayor. I think in light of the conversation we've had around our winter maintenance and a few of the questions that were brought forward is what can community members do if they have a report? We wanted to have a bit of a verbal discussion with council as a reminder to yourselves, but then also to our residents who might be listening or tuning in later, that the municipality does have some designated methods of which our community members can contact us. And I'm trying to pull them up as I'm speaking to you. And for council, we ask that if you could possibly direct community members to use our online portal, so those who do have internet access and feel comfortable with the access. If you go to report a concern on our webpage, the information that is logged into that report is very helpful to our staff. So when council asks us questions of how many times is this occurring? How many people have had chicken complaints? How many people have had dog complaints? That's the data we can pull in a database that we can pull from, because then we can see it. It's logged and it's recorded, and then we can extract that data for you for further questions when we're looking at, do we need policies? Do we need to change our policies? Do we need to redirect resources? So for everyone who's listening, it is on Report a Concern on the municipal website. For those members of the public who aren't comfortable with, they can come into the office and our staff will click into here and help them enter that information or show them how, or take it from them and enter it in. Again, the more information we can get into this database helps us with the decisions we have to make for future services and being provided. Logging it through the website or logging it through the complaints or concerns issue is also beneficial, because if it goes to a counselor, then it goes to one of the staff who are seated here. It's sitting in one email. Whereas when it goes through the database, it's automatically directed to the department that it's concerned with, right? So if it's a roads issue, Dave may see it, Chad may see it, others may see that concern. And so if one person isn't there, somebody else can see that a report was logged. So it's just as a reminder that it's very helpful if we all sort of follow a process to issue concerns and complaints. Also on this page, there are numbers for telephone numbers for our community members to call. So there is the general office number, which is the 519-785-0560. That is just a general office number which they can call and to be redirected. We also have some emergency numbers outside of the regular 8:30 to 4:30. So they're noted. It's the same number, but it provides options 1, 2, or 3. So whether it's a park and recreation, a roads, or a water emergency. So those numbers are there for staff community members to contact outside of the regular office hours. So it's just, I wanted to bring it forward to council, ask your assistance in helping us educate our residents on the process that would be most helpful. Again, it's helpful in the fact that it doesn't just go to one person. It can be seen by many. But on the back end, it's really helpful when council wants to know how big of a concern something is. How often are we hearing complaints on something? Is this cyclical? Are there issues that we need to address? By logging it into this database, we then can pull all that information so you can make better decisions about utilizing resources in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that. Yes, Councillor Denning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. And Robin, thank you for that. My experience is that a lot of times when folks are coming to us as council to express their concerns, it has been reported that they've gone to the portal, but they have not heard anything back. So is there sort of an expectation of a response time so that when people come to us and say, well, I've already tried the portal, that we can say that you need to wait a week or you need to wait 2 weeks, or it's triage depending on the severity? Like, can you walk us through that?
So it will be triaged, right? If it is a complaint on the sidewalk, it's going to get triaged as to our policy, as to our resources available. So they'll hit the prime sidewalk areas first and then do secondaries after. And so that's the reasonable response time. Sometimes when we hear things like garbage pickup, our staff are doing regular routes around to observe where and when garbage is, but then again, designated for pickup comes at a scheduled time, right? So it may not be the immediate, I'm calling in and then we can give the immediate, but we do receive the call. One of the areas that this can help us with is that we can receive a call And then we can start to determine how long it takes for us to respond to a call. And so I understand lots of residents at times will want to contact counselors, I think hoping to expedite. But anytime even council's calling us, we have to filter that into the priorities of work that our staff are already completing. So we may not call you back if it's an issue of a garbage pickup. Staff may go out and pick up the garbage and the work is done, as opposed to the follow-up, which is to call the resident back, which becomes a challenge for us because that's also demanding on our resources to do. It's the same with a sidewalk plow. If the complaint comes in, we will go deal with the issue, but we won't necessarily call the individual back to let them know that it has been addressed. What we would like to hear, though, is if a complaint is issued and then there isn't follow-up, that we do hear back from the resident, because that also can be tracked. And then that helps us to understand, are we at the back end utilizing this effectively? What is the time delay for us to address these issues? And then making sure we can report that to council to say, depending on the resources that we have and priorities of the time, here are the time expectations that we can determine in order to respond.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. Thank you for that.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Tellier, please.
Through the chair, thank you so much for that. The form is a valuable resource. In the past, I've had a few residents, well, a few a year, I guess. They will call one of us and say, you know, I have X problem. And then you give them the form and they don't want to fill it out. They don't want to be that neighbor. I think they feel that they can confide in us. I don't know what the deal is. So, you assure them that it's confidential, no neighbor's gonna find out. Can you speak to that about the confidentiality of it so people are sure that it is?
There is confidentiality in that it is not professionally advisable or right for our staff to be saying, Miss Smith from down the street called in a complaint. We just need to go and address the complaint. I recognize sometimes people don't want to be perceived as complaining on their neighbors. We are a complaint-driven municipality, be it that we do not have the staff or resources to actively go out to see violations of our bylaws. That's twofold. One, the cost to do so. And the second part is we live in a community, and so we create bylaws of which we, at the time, because bylaws until they're repealed exist on the books. And communities change over time, and community sets its own tolerances for, do I tolerate the chickens in my neighbor's backyard? So that's a tolerance, right? Or do I complain? Because now the community has grown, there are more people living in a dense area, and whether it be chickens or dogs, we now need to address it. And then if we have bylaws, then we can act on that. But we are a complaint. And so if it is an issue for a community member, we do encourage them, because that's how we address, that's how we get to know what are the priorities, what are the concerns for a community, and what bylaws do we need to relook at or establish, because the community of today needs it to be different, or the community of today needs a new bylaw. That's how the complaint system helps us to identify those sort of trends. But the concern of, will my name be identified? It should not be. And we will continue to emphasize to staff it should not be. That's a private, but we do want to know who's issuing, because it's hard for us to act on just vague complaints or non-identified complaints. One of the things, though, we have recognized when there are major community issues, a lot of times the neighbors already know who's complaining, because the neighbors have already issued complaints to one another, or they have issued complaints to other people that does get around. And so sometimes that information isn't us releasing it. It's the information that has already existed because there's been a neighbor squabble or there's been neighbor confrontation, and they make the assumption, and we have no control of that part.
Further questions? Councillor Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. When Councillor Denning was putting up his hand, I was putting up my hand for the same reason. I think a lot of the feedback that I get from the community is that they put in a complaint or they put in a concern, they report a concern, and then they don't hear anything back. And I just wondered, is there perhaps a method for us to at least get back to that resident to let them know that their complaint was received and will be addressed in due time? I don't know whether that's, again, automated emails. I don't know how.
There is.
There's an automated thing. Okay. But I understand that takes staff time. I can't see us getting that, well, sorry. I can see us getting that many complaints, but maybe it would be beneficial if somebody could get back to those residents and just say, hey, okay, we heard you, we're addressing it. We will get back to you in 3 to 5 business days or 7 to 10 business days, depending on the severity. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but I think maybe that would alleviate some of the concerns with residents not, seeing action on it right away. Again, it's triage, right? If it's a snow plowing issue, we're out in the process of plowing the sidewalks and, someone complains, hey, my sidewalk's not been plowed. And Madam CAO or Dave, you know that sidewalk's going to be plowed in the next 4 hours. Then is there a reason to get back to that resident? Perhaps not. But I think a lot of the community members would appreciate a response in some way, just to say that they were heard. And I know I would.
So their complaint isn't falling on stony ground.
So it's not ending up in an inbox and no one's listening to it.
I agree.
Right. Thank you.
Councillor Sousa?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ryan and Bill's point, I have received a few complaints too that they filed multiple times and they have not heard a response. I like to see a response. I mean, I think there are taxpayers, they deserve a response. Like, I really think we have to respond. I mean, there are constituents, and they deserve more than that. Not to be ignored and just what's going on. I'm sitting here, what's happening? And a month goes by and well, I haven't heard back. I just think that's absolutely bonkers. I'm sorry. I think we can do better. Let's respond to those emails. Thank you.
It depends on the complaint, really, to be honest with you. If it's regards snow clearing, again, you get back, it could be all done. Snow will be gone, but if it's something more important, yeah, it's nice to know that somebody's looking at their complaint. Councillor Denning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Just to build upon the conversation we're having here. Let's assume that staff is at capacity for the things that they're doing, and I think they are, and we can't hire somebody just to sit and respond to complaints. However, would there not be a consideration for, a nice to have list within the organization so that we begin to compile that list with things that the community has said to us that they would like to have. And when we get to a point where we would have enough of those things to justify an additional position within the organization, then that can get put into budget discussions, whether or not the increase in tax to reflect that additional position is justifiable or not.
Yes, please. CEO.
Council, I do hear the concerns, and part of it is then what is our customer service standard and what does that look like? And that might be something we need to look and address. It's balancing between, it is a balance of resources, and while we recognize the calling back is helpful to residents, that they make sure they understand that they are being heard, it becomes into our priority. And so are we calling or are we continuing to work on the other work? But it could be something we look at as far as our customer standard to say, if we receive a complaint, what would be the reasonable amount of time for us then to issue at least a comment back saying, your complaint's been heard, it has been addressed, or it is looking at being addressed. Some of that might be to see how many complaints we are getting in and how much time demand that has, so we can set that standard. So community understands we will get back to in a certain amount of time. And then the resident understands that it's reasonable to wait a set period of time for us to return that call.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sousa, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just a little bit of an idea of suggesting, can we put maybe a disclaimer on that form about confidentiality to say that there is one on there? Thank you.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
so that people are aware, we don't have a paper form anymore. It is digital, so it is online. If a resident is coming into the office, staff will assist them either in entering the data themselves or enter the data for our resident. Yes, and if they do a telephone or if it's through other means, what we're trying to do is make sure we're starting to direct this to, because this really is how we're going to be able to gather information and determine best services going forward.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions on that? I think we've had a good discussion this evening. That's going to bring us right to adjournment.
The recommendation is that the Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn at 4:57 PM to meet again at 4:00 PM on Thursday, February 26, 2026, or at the call of the chair.
Move, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Statham. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.